Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that His presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Well, I'm not quite as scattered as I've been the past few weeks back home, but since I walked in Michigan, thought I'd walk here, so out of Coronado today. We're finishing up Mark chapter 4, and it might take us a couple sessions to do so. Jesus has finished His teaching. And if you go back to the beginning of chapter 4, Jesus started out by teaching a crowd with His disciples, and Jesus was in a boat. It was so crowded. And so He was at the shoreline in the boat, the crowd was on the shore, and Jesus was teaching them. And He was teaching them in parables. And the first parable was about the farmer who goes out to sow the seed, and how some lands on the hard path, some lands in shallow rocky soil, some lands where there's thorns and thistles growing, and then some falls on good soil and grows and produces a crop, 60, 100-fold. And so it's really all about listening. And you can make a case that all of chapter 4 is about listening. And so listening to the Word, and the seed is the Word. And we have Jesus saying, let him who has ears to hear, listen up. And to the one who has been given, even more will be given. To the one who listens well, even more will be given. And how when you receive the Word, it grows. And you may not understand how it's growing. And how it may be like a mustard seed. You're not even hearing the Word a lot. And yet if you just take some time and you listen to the Word a minute or 2 or 5 every day, it grows and it becomes a kingdom. You live under its reign. And so all of this has been about listening. And so Jesus tells the disciples at the end of the day, okay, let's go to the other side of the lake. And to their credit, they listen to Him. And He's in the boat, they take Him as He is, and they begin to travel to the other side of the lake. And other boats are with them. And as they get out on the lake, a strong wind comes up and is causing the waves to break over the stern of the boat, and the boat's starting to fill with water, but Jesus is asleep on the boat. And
oh my God.
Some people are just oblivious and asleep. But Jesus is asleep, and so they're terrified. They're afraid that they're going to perish, and so they wake Jesus up. Don't you even care that we are about to perish in this storm? And Jesus is sleeping. And so Jesus gets up, and He sees what's going on, and He commands the wind and the waves to cease, to be still, and immediately there is calm. And Jesus asked the disciples, why were you afraid? Do you still not have any faith? And the disciples are filled with this fear and awe of Jesus. They were afraid of the wind and the waves, but now they're afraid, in a sense, of Jesus. Like, who is this that even the wind and the waves obey Him? Now, there's a lot that we're going to be working on with this in the next day or two, the next session or two. But the key thing is listening, that it's all about listening. And even the wind and the waves listen to Jesus. And so if the wind and the waves listen to Jesus, how much more should we listen to Jesus? And so the disciples, that's kind of the big takeaway, is the authority of Jesus, that even the wind and the waves obey Him. And if the wind and the waves obey Him, how much more should we listen to Him? And so kind of the capstone, it's a miracle, it's not a parable, but it has a lesson to the miracle, that we need to listen to Jesus if even the wind and the waves listen to Jesus. Well, don't know where you're scattered today, but God bless. Have a great day. Listen well.